Okay, Happy New Year, maybe. So is it worth modding the CRF300L? And I'm not a person that modifies bikes, because usually I think it's just a waste of money and I'd rather just ride round it. You know, like if I buy a bike and I think it needs more power, what I'll probably do is just lose weight, you know, power to weight ratio, because that's how tight I am. But the CRF300L, I did decide to make some modifications, mainly in lieu of flogging my Honda Dominator. So the first thing that I did, tyres, probably a must-have really if you're serious about off-road riding. So I've got the Pirelli MT21s and they do work really well, and also they're not too bad on the road either. I'd probably class them as 70-30 off-road and on-road. So they do work really well, really good on rocks, really good in ruts. Where they do struggle a little bit is on kind of really kind of clayey soil, and then they do tend to clog up quite easily. But probably nothing outside of a full-on motocross tyre will be able to deal with those. But no, they work really well, particularly the front tyre, and now, you know, it's really good in ruts, doesn't try and climb out, tracks really straight, and with the updated suspension, more of which later, it does make a really good combination. So I think changing the tyres on the CRF300L, particularly if you're serious about off-road stuff, is pretty much a no-brainer. But you could probably go for MT21s, you could go for Dunlop 606s, and probably my favourite was going to be the Michelin trackers, but I just couldn't get hold of them. But to be honest with you, I don't think you'll go wrong with any three of those, or if you're really serious, get a motocross tyre. But yeah, new tyres, junk the IRCs, get something different, and yeah, out of those three I don't think you could go wrong. So tyres, yes, definitely.
That was fucking grim, that was.
So, as you can see, it's been a bit windy in Northumberland, and even with new tyres and suspension, I don't think I'm going to be able to get over that. Anyway, so right, the YSS suspension, what do I think about it? Well, of course, it's stiffened up the front end and the back end, particularly the back end, because that was really squishy on the stock bike. But what's it done for me and my riding? Well, it's just made me a lot more confident, to be honest, a lot more confident in terms of how the bike is going to behave over challenging terrain. It also allows me to travel a little bit faster over that terrain as well, you know, which adds to the fun. So if you have a 300L at the moment and you're feeling as though you could do with that degree of comfort, that you know how the bike is going to behave in certain conditions, then definitely I would recommend the suspension. If, however, you're perfectly happy managing the suspension of the stock bike over challenging terrain, and you know, by managing it I mean almost like riding the bike like a trials bike, then you know, don't bother. Keep your money, spend your money on tyres, on handlebars, bark busters, skid plate, and maybe some other protective bits. It's not a must-have, the suspension, but like I say, if you wanted a better feel out of the bike, you wanted to be more confident on the bike, maybe the trails that you're hitting are quite challenging, then definitely, you know, the suspension is a good thing to buy. Where I am in Northumberland, I could probably, you know, get along without changing the suspension. If I was back in Derbyshire, where I used to do a lot of riding, there's loads of big horrible big bouldery rocks and really nasty. If I was riding a stock CRF300L there, I would probably, yeah, I would struggle with the standard suspension. So it's really, obviously, it's personal preference, where you ride, what kind of riding you want, what kind of feel do you want from the bike. The bike now is a lot tauter. No way is it an enduro bike, but it's a lot tauter, quite a bit stiffer, and it seems to handle a little bit better. But I'll come back to my main point, which is now it gives me a lot of confidence, and it's the confidence that comes from I'm now very clear on how the bike is going to behave in certain conditions, you know, which is a massive bonus. So I've pretty much got the bike of my dreams now. I'm not going to do much more with it. I'm not going to change the exhaust, because I don't know about you, well, A, I don't like loud bikes, and then the other thing is there's something about thumpers below 400cc when they're loud. They sound like total crap. You know, they sound like a pizza delivery boy on an uncorked Sinis 125, and I don't want that. So the stock exhaust is staying. I'm going to get a rack for it, so I can go touring, and with that I might get a big tank if one ever comes out, or I might lash something up on the back. So yeah, the bike is pretty much perfect. So hope you've enjoyed the video. It's December the 30th and it's like 12-13 degrees here in Northumberland, which is unheard of, so I'm going to go home now and have a mince pie. So thanks for watching. And okay, sorry for that, but of course I forgot to mention the handlebars and the bike busters. So I've now got Renthal handlebars on there, and I went for the Ricky Carmichael bend. Why? Well, of course it's Ricky Carmichael, so now I'll be able to whip it on tabletops and, you know, do triples. No, the real reason is that Ricky Carmichael handlebars have quite a pronounced bend on them, so I thought they would raise and improve the riding position without having to put risers on the bike, and they seem to have pretty much done that. I mean, it's not by much, they're probably about half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch higher than the stock bars, but they seem to work really well. Of course they're Renthal handlebars, so they're never going to bend, and it's, you know, there's, I'm sure somewhere they've got Ricky Carmichael's signature on them, which is, what more could you want? So it's New Year's Eve as I write this, or as I say this. What am I on about? It's New Year's Eve as I talk about this nonsense. I'm just about to go to the tip. I'm going to throw that away. That's the standard Honda front fork spring, state of that. And I'm also going to chuck this thing, which is the Honda rear suspension, standard rear suspension. Weighs a bloody ton. So I'm not going to drop it. I'm not going to drop it on the floor because it'll probably go through the ceiling and down into the flat below. So that's not going to be any good. So it's Happy New Year. I've got a few beers. So I've got some Fuller's vintage ale. I've got this, which looks a bit scary. It's called Project 7 El Nino Double West Coast IPA, 7.8%. Blimey. And then I've got this, which is Beavertown 8 Ball IPA, and it's 6.2%. It's got a fabulous can. So I think after I've necked 3 of those and I've joined the wife in a glass of Prosecco, I think I'm going to be good for nothing, which is exactly how it should be on New Year's Eve. So we'll cue the next footage now. That's it for this year, and just wish you all a Happy New Year. Hope you have a good one. Let's hope 2022 is a better year. Cheery bye.